We're back live tonight here on In Focus, and thanks for staying on. Taxi drivers in Cape Town have decried treatment that allegedly they received at the hands of the city's law enforcement authorities. Santaco has alleged that what it calls day-by-day impounding of vehicles, heavy traffic fines, and the issues around the pilot project called Blue Dot. On the other hand, law enforcement in the city condemned acts of violence that saw commuter buses torched. The taxi strike in the Western Cape is expected to hit business hard and cost the local economy millions of rands, while courier drivers say they have received threats from striking taxi operators. Joining us now to discuss the strike is Western Cape Santaco Deputy Chairperson, First Deputy Chairperson, Nceba Enge. Nceba, good evening and thank you for your time and joining us tonight here on In Focus. I know in your statement
you and your viewers, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Right. Thank you so much. Now, in your statement, you're saying Santaco Western Cape is embarking on a non-violent stay-away today. You're saying the Western Cape taxi industry stay-away is non-violent, and you disassociate yourself from any of the violence.
Yeah.
Maybe, perhaps, let's begin here then. If yourself are embarking on a non-violent strike, who is responsible for the violence, and why are they being violent, and how certain are you that they are not a part of the Western Cape taxi industry?
You know what? We announced this stay away, I think 2 weeks ago, where we called a media briefing. And we were expecting everyone to play his part. Like, for instance, the law enforcement, we were expecting them to play their part so that they make sure that there is no violence. Violence is not caused by the taxi industry because we said we are going to stay at home. As a result, really, there are no vans that are on the street. The owners are just sitting at the taxi rank and going back home from the taxi rank. So we cannot take responsibility of what you don't know. We should think as well that sometimes when there are such things, third force takes its place, you know.
So part of your stay away was not about barring other modes of transport from operating. Am I correct?
Correct.
And what then would lead to buses which were operating to be torched?
No, as I've said now, that it might happen that it's third force. We don't know about that because those are not our people. I heard the J.P. Smith, who is from the city of Cape Town, claiming that there are 3 guys who have been arrested. So I think it will be proper that we wait until they are charged and see where they come from. Yeah. But they're definitely not coming from the industry.
Yeah. So if you are saying there is a hand of a third force, what interest does that third force have in your stay away?
We can't really know. I'm referring to the third force because the taxi industry is not involved. And what happens is that when we drive with these buses here, some incidents happen of this nature. Yeah. This is not the first time. So it is strange now that when we are on stay away, fingers will be pointed at us, of which is not the first time.
Yeah.
This happened even in Nyanga, whereby buses were tortured whilst we were all operating.
Yeah. So I'm worried because whenever we mention a third force, it refers to a third party that has interest in the instability that is created between the taxi industry and the bus industry. So the third party benefits if, for example, the taxi industry is being suspected for torching buses. And that should concern you. In fact, it's something that you as the taxi industry should be worried about, to say, who is this third force that is ruining our credibility and our reputation?
Yes, we are concerned about that, but we have trust in the law enforcement, whereby we think that it is their responsibility to investigate and come forward with the results of their investigation. We rely absolutely on them because we don't have those skills as a taxi industry.
Now, you, of course, mentioned that there are 3 who have been arrested. Should the 3 who have been arrested be found to be members of Santaco or members of the Western Cape taxi industry, what is going to happen to them?
We have a code of conduct, the Santaco, and our regional offices have their code of conduct as well. So if it so happens that those are our members, then the code of conduct will be implemented. Drastic actions will be taken against them.
Has there been then, since the stay away today, any degree of constructive engagement with the DA political leaders to try and resolve whatever differences that you are having?
Not at all, and we found that so strange because we saw the statements issued that they were trying to consult with us this morning, of which we didn't get any communication from the Department of Transport or from the office of the Premier either. So we found it so strange that they will go to the media and claim that they were trying to get hold of us. There is no such. So there are no engagements yet.
And at this point, where does that leave the stay away? I mean, will you be able to continue with the stay away? Are you going to, from tomorrow, provide transport to commuters and citizens?
No, as we have announced last week already, that the stay away is for 2 days. So we'll continue with tomorrow as well. But we're always hoping that the government will at least call us so that we can go to the tables. Then once the government calls us, we will be able to suspend the stay away. But up until that call arrives, if it doesn't, we'll then have no choice but to continue with the stay away as we have the mandate from our members.
So what do you want this government of the Western Cape to do? What is it that you want the taxi industry to be allowed to do?
One is the issue of Blue Dot, which is a well-known factor now around, whereby we are saying that Blue Dot should continue. But Blue Dot should not only continue to the 880 quantums, but it should be expanded. And in the Western Cape, we have 15,000 quantums. So we are expecting Blue Dot to continue this because this is a model that can be used in subsidizing the taxi industry. 2 are the bylaws that have been implemented by the city of Cape Town, which we say they need to be reviewed because we see them as a way of oppressing the business of the black people, because this is the black-owned business, which the government sees it successfully without being subsidized. So these are the elements which we view seriously in trying to kill our business. And the issue of impoundment, of course, which is also killing us in this province. If those issues can be addressed, we will really be at peace and will be very happy as a businessman in this province.
Was the Department of Transport transparent with the taxi industry when the Blue Dot pilot was initiated, that this was a pilot, it's a temporary initiative with limited funding? Or were you given the impression that this will be a permanent initiative?
I really like that question because that is where we are referring to all the time, is that when the pilot project was started, it was said that if the project is successful, then it will continue and it will be expanded. And that is what we're expecting, because the results show that the project was successful. There's testimony from even plus minus 30,000 passengers that were interviewed, who also claimed that there is safety in this product. There is a driver behavior changing process, and they were really appreciating that the project should continue based on those things, because we have a code whereby if the driver transgresses on the road, you can just call and mention that code. It is very easy to get hold of the driver who's driving that taxi and also the taxi operator to whom the taxi belongs, and then disciplinary measures can then be taken.
All right, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on and bringing that clarity. Nceba Enge, first Deputy Chairperson of Santaco there in the Western Cape. That stairway continuing tomorrow, according to the taxi industry there.